Well, welcome, Angus and Malcolm. How are you guys doing? I think what you're looking for, honey, is down here. I think it's in here. So, welcome, Inspired Tribe, to the Inspired Livestream. It's a difficult language, the English language. We're excited that you're here. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. And that's the mantra of the Inspired Livestream. It is Thursday. September 2nd, 2021, WON. And I know you guys are just tuning in. 17 people right now. I think the number's going up. You're just tuning in. Remember the beautiful mantra of the live stream. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. And for shits and giggles today, hashtag love wins. That's really the truth. Welcome to Q Thursday, where we do a little Q&A session. It's interesting. A couple weeks ago, both Christine and our middle daughter, Kiara, kind of had this inspiration, and separately, disconnected from each other, came to me and said, why don't we do a Q&A live stream every week? And here we are doing that. So your questions, our answers. And what can I say? We really have no off topics. Christine is sitting here, my wonderful wife. Did I introduce ourselves today? My name is Jean Nolan. This is my wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan. I sometimes there's so much coming through all at once. I forget some of the basics. So welcome to everyone who's new. And Christine's sitting here with the phone, with the live chat, and we're going to go through your questions. Who's tuning in and see what's coming up. So I noticed that there was one question already there this morning.
Really?
Yes, by Get Spiritual with Illy. And I believe the question was, can you explain the concept of future proofs past? It's really interesting and a big question. But before we go into it, let's ring this in. It's future proofs past. That's a big question. Let's narrow it down to the most simple concept. What you're experiencing now in your life is a product of everything that has happened in the past, especially what your vibration, your thoughts, and everything was, So that's in the smallest way. That really just explains, kind of how the laws of the universe work, and how we, what we create in our minds, in our thoughts, in our feelings, and in our actions produces results and produces consequences. So when we live through the physical consequences, good or bad, whatever, we can actually say, well, this proves that what we did in the past had this effect. But in a bigger sense, I think this is often used for historical terms, future proofs past. And it has been said many times that we live in cycles, right? That we live in a constant cycle of evolution, devolution, destruction, evolution, devolution, destruction, however you want to call it. I firmly believe, for one, that has been true for eons, but I also believe we are now we're having this renewed opportunity to break the cycle and escape from this same old destruction, rebuilding, getting all crazy, destroying again. So I hope this in some ways answers your question, but there's so many more concepts to this. Last but not least, I shall say that the concept of time works totally different outside of our perception. Okay. First question, already answered. Is there another cue?
Well,
people, don't be shy in the live chat. Introduce yourselves. Let us know. I'm gonna let you know what the thoughts have been, and we might dedicate a whole live stream. But that's one of the questions that has been coming up so much for our junior coaches that are in our Inspired Coaching Academy. A question that we get a lot is, does this whole law of attraction, frequency, resonance really work? Because, I've been thinking about this thing so much. I've been thinking about this one thing manifesting in my life, and it hasn't manifested, and I still need to go to work, or I still need to do things, and it's not working. And that's one of the biggest questions we've gotten over the years, especially when people study these laws and study the teachers that are out there, the teachers that explain a principle. And we have gone into this over various live streams, but one of the most important things to remember is that you're taking a pure universal law and you're basically pulling out a few pieces of that knowledge that you've gathered, and then you it's kind of like, you know, picking the best parts out of it and then saying, okay, this is it. I'm just using this. It's a big concept of resonance, and only that which you truly resonate with, which means that you have to be in a very similar, if not the exact same vibration of that which you desire to resonate with, to actually experience that. And so this is a simple concept explained in a few sentences, but grasped and truly realized. It can take a lifetime to truly realize what that means, and to take into account that you have vibration, active vibration within you that you might not know about, that you might have karmic active vibration from past lives that you maybe consciously don't know about, and that we have a collective field that we create all the time. So it's not as simple as I'm just going to focus on this one thing, sit here, and it's going to happen. Although those things do happen, what I'm saying is there's a bigger picture. And nothing has led to more frustration in people than saying, I studied the law of attraction for the last three weeks. I've been doing this, I've been scripting it, and it's not coming. That's a story we've heard over and over again. And it's what turns people off from actually going on the path of a true spiritual awakening, if you will, a true realization of who we really are. And if that is only, if your only desire is to use this, you know, which you have been using all your life, the law of resonance, to use this to pull into your life the material things that you want, or kind of the egotistical desire fulfillment, then that's up to you. That's totally fine. But that's not really what, you know, what we're desiring to teach and show people. It's about stepping into your true authentic power and realizing who you really are, which usually sets free all the potential for that which you want.
Okay, next question is...
Isn't she lovely? Yeah.
Paula is asking, what is your background?
Here, love. It's my background. It's LOV, love. Love in all areas of my life is my background. Love for life, a zest, real love for life, love for the creator, love for people, love for helping, love for assisting, love for my family, my children. So love's totally my background. It's also my foundation.
Michael is asking, any updates on the internet shutdown timeline?
All the time. It's a good general question. Thank you, Paul. Was it Paul? No.
Michael.
Michael. That's a good general question. So this leads me to another question that we get a lot is, how do I find out information? How do I do research and stuff like that? And I'm going to go specifically into the internet question. So Paul is referring, Michael is referring to a video that we posted a few weeks ago that talked about the plan to basically restrict or create a big internet outage and then restrict access to the internet, which I would encourage you, if that's something that you want to know more about, to pay attention to pay attention to how the media and even more tech-specific outlets cover regularly hacks, big hacks, how they cover internet stability, how they cover kind of little pieces where they prepare the public for potential outages, how to do that. That's one thing. Kind of look for the signals that are out there. Pay attention to the noise as well. And the other thing is, that's how research really works, is go to the most influential institutions, non-government organizations, government organizations, and corporations, and look at what they put out. Look at their documents. I mean, this means reading. This means going through lots of boring stuff to get to the juicy details. And see what they've been putting out for 10, 15, 20 years, namely a vision of a completely regulated internet that basically represents kind of like a global country that you can only get access to like you would to another country with a passport, all kinds of restrictions. And then pay attention to the implementation of constant new rules, and how separate countries are doing that. Now, what we have seen in the past, what we are living through right now, is there's always a major disruption, a big tragic event, shocking event, something that captures the attention of the public, like we're living through now, to implement new rules. That's how this works. Whenever you want to implement something completely new and that's counterintuitive to the people, you want to create an event that gets the attention and creates the necessity, is what David Icke calls the problem, reaction, solution concept. You know, you want a solution. You want a solution, so you create a problem, the public gives you a reaction, and then you present the solution. So in terms of the internet timeline, as we've said, in just to give you an overview, in I think October of 2019, you had the event 201, look that up, and about 2-3 months later, the global pandemic situation began. And look what event 201 talked about, and look what that is. We just in July had the Cyber Polygon, which was also put on by the World Economic Forum, like event 201, they were also part of that. And what they did is basically prepare for major internet structural attacks in the biggest coordinated preparedness event ever. And so this gives you an indication that that's the mindset of what they're going with. Whether that's weeks, months, or even half a year away, we don't know. We can't tell you. And that timeline is never really released, but you can tell by the intensity. When things begin to intensify in the output of information, that usually tells you we might be closer.
Tracy's asking, for those of us that are new to this, how does the split happen for friends and family that are left in 3G? I have so many that aren't getting it.
Are we talking about 3G or 3D?
I think 3D.
3D. So how does, there's a number of, the question is, basically, if I can kind of try to broaden it, is about what some people call the ascension process. Some people call it the split of timelines, or some people even call it the convergence of timelines. But basically what that means is it has been prophesized, and it has been kind of, I think, you know, we've seen this over the last years and decades, that there are new, and maybe not so new, but new to us, new ideas and completely new mindset and heart sets emerging amongst lots of people. And the confines of our current reality have already been kind of broken apart. And so the question is, how will this unfold? You know, if people raise their vibration to a level that does not resonate anymore with this very violent, very dense material world, very much about constant conflict and survival, toughest of the fittest of the toughest. How will that split work? It's been said many times that those who cannot, or just don't want to, or it's just not in their current path to participate in that new expansion, that they will simply disappear from our reality. And we've always wondered how that might look. And I believe this comes in many ways and shapes and forms. What I do see is that it's already been happening now. For years, we've observed that more and more people have exited this realm, you know, sickness, accidents, whatnot. But it also appears, and here's where I'm going to challenge your perception of reality. It also appears that people are exiting this realm and also exiting our memory realm, which means that potentially people that you might have been very close with a few years ago are not around anymore, but you're not aware of it because you don't have a memory of them anymore. Even family members, we've seen this often. And in some cases, this is very similar to what people describe as being the Mandela effect. That's one aspect of this phenomenon. I believe that's a very, that's probably a concept that kind of, you know, it kind of breaks the confines of our thinking. How's that possible? You know, could it be that we had close friends just a few years ago that have exited the realm, but we're not even aware because we don't remember them? So I believe there's many aspects to this split in timelines, and we're just beginning to understand and remember that there is so much more to our reality and to the nature of our reality. And I encourage everyone not to lose yourself in that, not to get crazy about those things. Kind of go with it as you move along in your journey, and slowly but surely more understanding will come to you.
Elaine is asking, how can we take judgment out of stressful situations? My partner has a serious health condition and I'm finding it distressing at times.
So Elaine is asking how to take judgment out of any kind of situations. In her specific, it's about an illness of her partner. And I can only assume there are whatever the judgment is. But I'll be honest with you, I would be a complete phony if I said I can take judgment out of any situation. I can't. There are certain situations where I feel judgment inside of me, where I judge the actions of others, especially if they are harmful, if they're violent, abusive towards other people. I have a judgment. So, however, I will say that your question is more aimed towards people you're close with, people you're maybe in love with, that are family, and in that case, I'll go back to what unconditional love is. And unconditional love is to fully and without restrictions accept the journey of another. And that's a very challenging concept for the way we've all been brought up. But I will say it's also the most liberating concept. If you can allow yourself to go on that journey, because it's a journey. The journey to unconditional love means that you step out of your habitual reactive patterns that you've been taught and step into a how would my soul look at this? That's always a good question to ask, because you move your attention from here, this is preconceived ideas, to your, then it goes to your kind of fear center, which is the stomach, and their emotions are stored. But then you get to the soul level, which people usually feel here, and the soul has a very unconditional observation of the reality around it. It's very non-judgmental and very forgiving for anything. So a good way to begin that journey of being more accepting, more unconditional, is to ask, how would my soul see this, feel about this? How does my soul feel about this? And you can call that inner being or higher self, same concept in essence. So that's a question I would ask myself, and I do ask myself a lot.
Purple Soul is asking, so what can I do when I feel bad? I know it's all about energy.
Well, I felt sad just an hour ago. Felt sad for a couple hours today. I was doing some work, and even though I was immersed in my work, I felt sadness coming up, and I simply didn't push. I simply didn't want it to go away. I didn't question it too much. I didn't, I didn't judge myself for it. I didn't say it's wrong to feel that way. I just accepted it, and I don't necessarily still know where that sad. I have an image of where that sadness comes from or what it stands for. But the bottom line here is that as long as you think that feeling bad is wrong, feeling good is right, you will have a push against, you will have this immediate reaction to wanting to push away. Whereas I would say if a feeling keeps coming up, it's for two reasons. Either it wants to be healed, or it first really needs to be seen, what it stands for. So if you can allow yourself to accept that you're not feeling good in any given situation, and then ask yourself the honest question, where does this come from? You might get an answer for that. And then see if there's something to heal. There's something to forgive, something to allow to transmute. So I'm not a big fan of simply jumping into a better feeling if there's something that keeps coming up. If it's just if you've done healing work and you just have habitual patterns, then use all those tools and practices and affirmations and all the good stuff. But distinguish. Does this have something to say to you, to show you, to tell you, or is it a habitual thing that you have already decided does not serve you anymore? That'd be my 2 cents here.
Lucy is asking, how can we change our timeline, our matrix?
Oh man, I'm all about really stepping out of the matrix, stepping into the true, authentic realm of being. But I get your question. Honestly, I believe there are times where we're timeline surfing or where we are dimension surfing, especially in our dreams. When we go to these places, but I will. All these questions are usually a desire, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way because we all have these moments. Is usually a desire to escape a current reality, and I would say, why don't we clean up our current reality? Why don't we clean? I mean, it's such a beautiful metaphor that we've collectively created a mess, why don't we clean it up? And it's this beautiful image that I remembered from the Anastasia books, Ringing Cedar books by Vladimir Mega, our favorite books in the world, where Anastasia, who tells a vision, speaks about the people living in a natural realm, living on their own piece of land, being self-sustainable, being self-responsible, and all those things. But she says, for all the city people that now are really excited about this dream, don't just leave the mess, clean up the mess. Let's clean up together. Let's heal all those places. And so these timeline questions come up quite frequently, and I would say, why don't we heal this here? That's just my 2 cents. Why don't we heal this as good as we can and clean it up, make it beautiful? I believe then those things will automatically shift.
The Graham is asking, does it influence the process of creating or attracting whether you love yourself or not, love your creator?
Well, my answer is a definite yes. And I will say this once again, and this is, I know people don't want to hear this as often because it brings all the power back to them, but also all the responsibility. When you are working consciously, as you've shown in your question, a lot of times our attention goes out into somewhere in the universe, the forces out there. How do I hook into that? How do I attach to that? How do I attract that? And the truth is that you are a constant natural vibrator. You're constantly vibrating. You can't help. As long as this body functions, as long as you're in this body, you're a frequency that you can change, adjust, heighten, lower. You can do all those things. And I believe there's a natural frequency that's the true human frequency in our experience that would mean us optimized the way we were intended to be. And I believe that natural frequency includes naturally all the things that you want in your life. All the things that you want to feel, experience, and attract into your life are part of that natural frequency. And that's why our focus in our work is always about reestablishing that natural frequency. What is hindering it? What is in the way? What is needed to remember, to remind your cells, remind your whole being of what that natural state is, and then how to maintain that state too. What happens when you fall out of balance? Because the beautiful thing is, and that's what we observe, when people come close to being balanced or in balance, their life begins to balance. The things begin to come into their experience, and love is that natural, most fundamental state. So without love, we have missed our calling. We've missed who we really are. And so the answer to me would be no. I don't think that is possible.
Just a second.
Christine is
I'm
typing.
Answering.
Just because I wanted to hear the ring of the bell.
Michelle is asking, it has been nearly 2 years since I have cried. At first, I felt something was wrong with me. It doesn't feel that way anymore, but is there anything I am missing? Well,
obviously it's something that has some significance or you wouldn't be thinking about it. It's hard to answer that without having any context. But I always say tears are our friends. Tears are healers. And to me, tears are when there's so much feeling or emotion, there's a difference. But when there's so much of that inside of us that we can't hold it anymore. And so this comes out, and it's a very unique and liberating experience. Again, if it's not a habitual thing, if it's not used for things. I mean, there's people that cry all the time to get stuff, right? Or to get attention. I mean, if you have, if you allow this to become a pattern in your children, that's going to be a pattern. They're going to cry for stuff. But I will say that as we grow up and as we get into our adult years, that tears are, I always feel like tears are friends that we should, invite every now and then, whether that's tears of joy, whether that's tears of just truth. When I'm confronted with real, actual truth about something, real, like 100% on point, tears come to me. It's like the feeling is so strong I can't hold it. But I don't think that there's anything to judge. I just believe if that's something that you miss, maybe it almost sounds like you're missing it. Maybe you just, send out an invitation and invite your friends to come visit you every now and then. Maybe they have something to show you.
Alan is asking a good question. How would you suggest I communicate to my kids about spirituality when all they care about is their phone and tablets and TV? They always tune out when I mention truths about the world.
That's a good
I
question.
love that question.
Is that Ellen that asked that?
Yes, Ellen, yeah.
So Ellen asks how to communicate, and I don't know what ages your kids are, how to communicate.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
What are the ages of your kids? Ellen asks how to communicate spirituality or truths about the world with her children when all they care about is tablet, TV, distractions, electronics. This is a super valid question. We have 3 children.
They are 11 and 15.
11 and 15. So they're a little younger. And in our experience, I mean, when they were at those ages, at least 2 of them, the social media aspect was not as huge, as all-encompassing as it now, but it was present. We have always believed that example says more than words. And one thing that our kids were always exposed to is weird people, weird conversation in our house. We would always have the weirdest people come to us and have meals.
According to them,
yes, and talk about topics other parents would never talk about, and talk about the strangest things that they, don't hear anywhere else. And we never bothered to hide that or kind of, be different in front of our kids. But we've also learned that there comes a time for everything. And if there's no opening, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do in that moment. But you have to trust that everything you do, everything you say, everything you live is recorded, is registered and remembered by your children. And that's what we're just finding out now as they're in their early adulthood years. That constantly absolutely amazes us when they come and share some of their thoughts, and we realize they've been observing all this time, even when we thought they weren't. They've been listening all this time, even when we thought they weren't. So I think as parents, we want our children so much to be well and to understand these principles. And they do. We just sometimes don't realize it's all in their own divine timing, and we can't push this, especially in the world we live in. That's why Christina and I always said, if we were to start over, we would be out in the country. We wouldn't be so close to all the craziness of society. But trust that if you are this, your children will eventually. First of all, they will register everything, but eventually they'll come around.
Well, and children always learn by observing, not by your words.
Yes, that's something, words, this is something Abraham Hicks has said over and over and over. Words don't teach, life experience does. And in this case, observation. Kids observe their elders. They observe what they do, and especially they observe whether their words and their actions are in sync, are aligned. that gives them the feeling of there's truth here. She does what she says, and she says what she does. That's a very powerful concept.
The next question is, we have discovered that we live under maritime law, while only general law may apply to land. It is said that in general law, there is only one law, do no harm. Do you know more about this?
A little.
Oh boy.
A little. I've been studying this probably for 15 years. All of that. So there's and there are probably live streams to point you towards where we discuss this. But there's a bigger truth here. The truth is that there's a creator, whatever you call that energy, God, or you call it universe, that's now besides the point. But there's a creator, then there's a creation, which is you, and everything that comes out of us, human beings, all the laws, all the rules that we make, we can only be subject to those laws when we consent, because they come out of us, and nothing that comes out of you can rise above you, not in the natural order of things. And so the truth is that what you're talking about is maritime law as being the law that governs all of commerce. And then there is what we call common law, which is how rules, morals, ethics are practiced within a group of people. And as you stated correctly, common law is really do no harm. That's really the basic of common law. And where there is no victim, there can be no crime. That's also a principle of common law. So when you want to dive into those principles, then you need to ask yourself, what is your status? What are you signaling to the world around you? That's a big topic. And what that means is that as a human being, you can only enter the system in any form, the financial, legal system, the whole human-based system, is if you have some sort of adapter to dive into it. And that adapter is a legal fiction. It's called a person, a legal fiction. And when you embody that person, I'm talking about the person, the legal fiction, when you embody that fiction, then you enter this system, and you're then, because you embody it, you're also then subject to all the rules and regulations. When you don't embody that legal fiction, your status is that of a natural living being, which cannot be subject to anything it doesn't consent to. Now, this is the theory. Truth is that almost no one, or very few people within the system, even understand this. Very, very few. And we've had the pleasure to talk to judges in high places that were actually completely blown, that their minds were blown when they finally wrapped their minds around this concept, because they were never taught and they never questioned it. So, but this is part of this awakening process, is to understand who we truly are. So this question is amazing, actually. Something we've been studying for many, many years and living for many years, but it requires, it isn't enough to just understand it legally, lawfully. It's a spiritual, it's a moral and ethical question. It's an inside job. And probably one of the biggest misconceptions about being this completely free, which we are as humans, completely free in our nature, the biggest misconception is that this freedom is anarchy. I will say that living freely and completely in self-responsibility is the highest ethical and moral way of living that you can have. You have to be beyond all the petty rules and laws. You have to have a higher moral compass, which guides you to truly embody freedom, which means that this is the greatest form of self-actualization and self-realization. So living in freedom is not anarchy. Living in freedom is living in harmony with the natural order of things, and living in harmony with the one law, which is do no harm and support the creation. So this is a big question, which I'm really grateful that you brought it up, but it's such a big topic that we cannot cover it in one answer.
Well, maybe we do a live stream about it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another live stream about this, because it's a beautiful, one of the things that, we've studied so deeply, and it's such a beautiful realization, especially when you step out of the fight and step into the true realization of what this really means.
We got 2 contributions.
Oh, thank you so much. I see it doesn't. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I see Ake. Oh my God, I'm butchering this and I'm so sorry.
And Lucy.
Thank you so much, both of you, for your contributions. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Um,
I think we have time for another question.
one
we
last
have it?
question.
Maybe 1 or 2.
Okay. Angel Lamp is asking, where is it that I should be applying myself more for the development of my alignment, purpose, work, soul, the real? 5 questions in one.
Well, here's one simple answer. Tune in to your heart. That's this space here. Let go of all of the shoulds. I should do this, I should do this, I should be this, I should be this. Tune in here and simply ask yourself right now, in this second, this moment, because this is the moment, this is the universal moment of power. You will never have more power in any other moment than this one right here. Best opportunity of your life to and ask yourself, how may I serve? Just ask yourself. When you ask that, you don't ask, how may I serve myself? You don't ask, how may I serve my neighbor? You simply ask, how may I serve? And because it's such an open question, it will give you a beautiful open answer that will embody and will entail everything. But just go there. How may I serve? What is here right now? And then, and this is the thing, we all get answers. We all get answers. Very few of us listen. Because the reasoning mind says, but that's not spiritual.
Or not how I imagined it.
Or how I imagined it to be, or, well, that doesn't sound right. Well, you have to trust this. This is the key to everything. Because this is your God connection. This is your upstairs connection, in-stairs connection. I mean, this is where it happens. So it's very simple. But then listen, and then take inspired action when it guides you to.
Purple Soul is asking why I can't forgive my mother? Question mark.
Purple Soul asks why she can't forgive her mother, or he. I don't know.
I feel like it's.
This is a question keeps coming about forgiveness, right? Whatever happened between you and your mother, it happened a while ago. I can assume now, from the energy of your question, and that hurt, pain, blame, sadness, anger, fear, frustration, it's sitting very deep. And so if you just say words, and those words don't come from the deepest place of your soul, then the healing hasn't taken place. And so I would encourage you, like, in this case I always do, to look up The Journey Process by Brenton Bays, or look up Family Constellation Therapy. But I'd say the Journey Process by Brenton Bays is a very beautiful place to start. There's practitioners all over the world, and it's usually a one-sitting session. It takes a few hours, and it's a beautiful, deep forgiveness process, and it might take you to deep places in your soul you had no idea existed. But that would be my suggestion to Purple Soul. Well, Tribe, is there any other pressing question?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. Inspired Tribe. We try to answer as many as we can. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your contributions. Yes?
Practice clients.
You don't need to raise your hand, honey.
I just wanted you to see me.
It's like me. So that we have, as many of you know, Kristin and I are doing the Inspired Coaching Academy and teaching others to become coaches and help and heal and help people to thrive. And we are in the last trimester of the Coaching Academy. It goes for over a year now, or it will go for over a year. And our inspired junior coaches are always looking for practice clients. So we would love to invite you to become a practice client. It is still free of charge. Your contributions are appreciated. Our coaches do appreciate that. But we want to invite you to send us an email to 365inspiredliving@gmail.com if you truly want to become a practice client and work with one of our coaches. We ask you that if you do send us an email, that you come with the intention to honor that as well, and then really, also show up. Our coaches are very dedicated, very excited about practicing techniques, practicing tools, practicing processes, and just assisting you in the journey of becoming, your best possible self. So if you feel inspired to become a practice client, please send us an email to 365inspiredliving@gmail.com, and we will forward you to the coach, and they'll get in touch with you. So last but not least, when you click on that link that's in the top of the live chat, it'll lead you to the Yado retreat. We're almost full. It's happening on September 30th till October 3rd, so there's about a month away. We are almost full, but a few slots left. If this speaks to you, it'll be a energy shift 3.5 days. Our intention is to show you how you can absolutely shift your physical, your mental, your spiritual energy, how you can create an energy shift within you that allows you to create lasting positive changes in your life. So we will pretty much step way above the boundaries of your current comfort zone, expand that, and we'll do it all in a beautiful setting down in Florida on the beach, which is absolutely a bonus. So if you feel inspired, check it out. There's a page on our website. The link is up there. And just see if this speaks to you. We'd love to have you. For all of those who've already signed up, we so look forward to seeing you. We'll be sending out detailed info soon. But yeah, we're all set, excited, and great things are going to take place in Florida at the end of September, early October. Tribe, thank you for, I believe this was our third Q Thursday. Good stuff. This is it from us for this week. We'll be back again on Monday, 2 p.m. Central. We have some beautiful topics. Sometimes they don't show up until the night before, and sometimes they show up a week ahead of time. So the next week is already pretty much planned out for what we're going to talk about. Some really cool stuff. And bring your friends, bring your family, show up. We'll have fun together. We love you all. Thank you for being here. And have a wonderful, inspired, beautiful rest of your week.